Yo, what's going down, Green Screen Entertainment fans? Your homie Jay Green back right now with my thoughts and feelings on episode 2 of Peacemaker season 2. I thought that episode 2 was fly as hell. Episode 1 gave a lot more focus to Peacemaker and Hardcore and what they were dealing with, what they're going through. This episode, we kind of see the whole team come back together. And of course, a lot more from your homie Eagly. And I'm gonna get into that in a minute. I would say this episode has a great 50-50 mix of drama and fun. I think the show so far is balanced very well within that. The show opens up with Rick Flag Sr. finding out that Peacemaker killed his son. Then we cut to Peacemaker trying to clean up some of that mess that he made in that previous episode. We see the team having a good time at this rooftop party, getting drunk, all of that, but we still get a nice little sobering conversation between Peacemaker and Hardcore, and we can see that she is unwilling to admit that she's hurt inside to him. And when he calls her on her stuff, she kind of throws it back in his face in one way or another, acting like he only wants to really deal with her because he views her as like a hurt bird, someone damaged, someone that needs repair. We see Economos admitting that he's probably not going to do nothing else but kind of stay in his lane, even though he could be doing bigger and better things. Adebayo is trying to pump him up and let him know, look, man, you can do better. And Adrian, this guy's just chilling for the most part. And throughout the episode, we can tell that Peacemaker is really intrigued at what that potential and hypothetical life would be like for him. But as this episode progresses, it's harder and harder for him to turn away from the temptation. That being said, by the end of this episode, it seems like Peacemaker has made a firm decision to see if the grass is really greener on the other side. And I ain't talking about the reefer. And I ain't talking about the weed smoke. And I ain't talking about the ganja. Now, this whole episode was dope. Yes, but without burying the lead too much, the two greatest things in this particular episode to me was Eagly and the introduction to Tim Meadows' character, Langston Fleury. Let me start with Eagly. Who needs a pit bull when you got a bald eagle? I'm gonna tell you like this. These intruders coming into Chris's house trying to really figure out what he's got going on in this back room, Eagly ain't playing no goddamn games. Eagly's taking them out like one by one in wonderful fashion. And at the end of this Bald Eagle versus Argus henchman brawl, he even has a slow motion action walk. Oh my God, dope as hell, hella fun, loved it. But aside from that just being baller, because who doesn't like Eagly, it was pretty dope to see how powerful and strong Eagly really is. We kind of see him as a bit of a jokey character, a bit of a sidekick to Peacemaker, obviously, right? But it was nice that James Gunn and crew were able to kind of showcase, no, this bird can really do some ish and he can really hold his own weight. And there's going to be other times, I'm sure, that he's going to step up and take some fools out. And I'm looking forward to that. Now, I don't know if the character Langston Fleury is a character from the comics or just a random character that James Gunn made up. And you know what? It don't matter. All I know is that I had no idea Tim Meadows was in this series. And when he showed up, I'm like, oh, snap. Tim Meadows, that's what's up, right? And off the bat, if you are a person who is a fan of dry humor, those deadpan expressions with off-the-cuff-ish that people be saying, and you gotta think about it for a quick second, let it sink in, Tim Meadows murders this role with those types of things. I was laughing my ass off way more than I expected. I even turned to my wife and I'm like, look, I don't know why I'm laughing at this right now, but I can't stop laughing. It's hilarious. But Tim Meadows is a dope actor and such a strong comedic presence that he sells every single thing that he's doing in the show. But at the same time, I'm wondering, where's his character actually gonna go? Because he can be silly and goofy and funny and say those types of things, but at some point in time, he might take a turn for the serious and be a real threat. I don't know. But I'm on board with it. I don't really want to mention too many of the things that he says in the show or the way that he acts in the show that have me rolling on my ass, because I want you to be as fresh as possible. If I say something, you're going to be anticipating it. I don't want to do that. Just go into the show and let everything that Tim Meadows is about to give you wash right over you. And if you laugh, you laugh. If you don't, you don't. It's all good. The show is still great on its own, but I just thought that Tim Meadows was a wonderful addition to this particular episode. So just to recap, the gang kind of got back together for a little boo-ha-ha. Chris is really wondering if he should actually spend some time on the other side of the fence. We see how Rick Flag Sr. figured out that Chris killed his son. We see a nice little touching interaction between Adebayo and her kind of ex-girlfriend, kind of on a break, which was really nice because again, it kind of grounds this show in a realism that we can all relate to. We've all been in relationships. So as outlandish as this show is, it still has a lot of elements that ground it in a realism that you can connect with. We got a dope fight with some henchmen and a bald eagle, and this show continues to open doors, no pun intended, to the mayhem that could potentially be ensuing with a couple of choices made from its main character. Also, as I've told you last week, check out the official Peacemaker podcast with James Gunn. I watched it this week and I thought it was such a delight. And the reason why is because it's really dope to see basically, let's just say, the author of this show speaking about certain motivations and intentions and why he's having certain things done, telling stories from the set, and just really getting the vibes and the feeling of the care and the craft and the energy and the heart that he is putting into these episodes. I love all that. It just draws me in that much more, makes it that much more fun. That being said, I hope you're keeping up with the show as I am. I'd love to hear what you thought. What was something that you really loved about episode 2? What really pulled at your heartstrings just a little bit? What drew you in a little bit deeper, not just to the story that is unfolding, but to the characters that we're watching? Yo, let's discuss. Your homie, Jay Green, I'm out.